It's the Evan edition. The Evan edition. The Evan edition. The Evan edition. It's the Evan edition. The Evan edition. The Evan edition. The Evan edition. It's the Evan edition.
Welcome back to the Evan edition. Happy Sunday. We made it. We made it through another week. And with another week means more geeky things to talk about. And I'm so excited because today I am joined by Rocky from Rocky Inc. Welcome
What's
to the
up?
show, my friend.
Thanks for having me. It's awesome to be here. Thanks. I know there was a little bit of coordination and schedule stuff before just because I was traveling and all that, but I'm so glad that we actually made this work today. It's great.
I know. I'm really excited, and the coordination was worth it because, right away, I just have to say, I love your channel, and I
thanks.
love how I stumbled upon it because it was from a comic book store owner who mentioned you, who got me to your channel, and then we started talking, and it's just such a cool, organic thing that, it's such an old school thing to, meet a friend in the comic book store, which is basically what we did, but the 2025 version.
Right. Do you, I never actually, circled back with you. Do you go to shout out Chris at Invisible Jet? Do you go to her store a lot?
I don't go to her store a lot. I used to go back when it was the other address, just down the street. But no, my wife and I were eating near there, and I know
Fat Cat, right? Was it Fat Cat before?
Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah. And I wanted to check out hers, after the fire, and stuff there's and so all that stuff, and so and then I went in there and we started talking, and I was like, I have this show, I'm interested in meeting other creators and see what other people are doing, and so
good.
Yeah, that's kind of how it started. But I'm so glad that we finally got to do this. I mean, it's not easy. I was just telling my wife, with other creators and other artists and finding a time to do it, and with, and us working other, our full-time jobs. And
right.
So it's just there's so much coordination that goes into this, but I'm really excited. So just basically how the show is going to go today is we're going to talk a little bit to Rocky, just about his channel, how it started, what he hopes, to the future of it, how he got into comic books in general. And then we got a ton of stuff to get into, mostly Spider-Man, which this is the year of Spider-Man. I keep saying it's from when the initial photos of Tom Holland came out till July. This is the calendar year of Spider-Man. And then we're going to talk a little bit about Peacemaker season 2 premiere. And
hot off the presses.
Hot off the presses, especially for you.
For me.
Rocky just finished the episode right before he got on here. So
because Evan was you might want to watch it before we go. And I'm like, okay. I'm cramming it in. It's like studying for a test.
Yeah, seriously. But this, this is a rated R test, a fun test.
It wasn't something that it's the cliff notes on that one would have been interesting, because I was like, whoa, okay, all right, here we go.
I know.
I guess we're doing this.
Yeah, no, I can't wait to get into it. But before we get into that, I do want to talk a little bit about your channel. Why don't you just tell, just for the uninitiated, tell us a little bit about your channel, what it is, how you started, and then your hopes for the channel.
Yeah. Quick shout out to in the chat, at the YouTube chat, Lindsay Rose and Timmy Mello. They show up in my channel, and I'm so glad to see them here. So yeah, my channel is, my name is Rocky Ballesteros, and my channel is at Rocky Inc. on YouTube. That's also my handle on X. But I started it a little over a year ago, maybe about a year and a half ago. It was kind of a crazy thing. I've always been into comics. I've loved comics my whole life. And, as a young kid, you kind of dream about becoming a comic book artist, or, I was an artist also, but I loved comics. So it kind of went hand in hand. But actually my path took me more into like animation. So I went the animation route, went to school for animation. But I've always loved comics and have always been reading comics. And one of my good friends that I met in college, the reason we met was because of comics, our mutual love of comics. So fast forward to us now, 30 plus years later from graduating from college, and my good friend, his name is Shanthan Jetty. He started a YouTube channel several years ago. And his purpose for doing that was like to do like art instructional videos, but also to produce an independent comic and crowdfund it, which he did through Indiegogo. So I kind of watched him do that and was like, cheering him on from the sides. And he was like, hey, you need to do this. And I was like, what? And I'm like, I'm not getting on camera and doing the YouTube thing. That's crazy. And he's like, you need to do this as an independent artist in this day and age. This is how you connect to your audience. It's no longer like going to work for Disney and getting discovered. And then maybe I'll get a shot at like, directing my own movie or producing my own, like getting discovered by Marvel. It's not like that anymore. Like the whole economy for artists has changed. And so he said, you need to put yourself out there. So I started joining like YouTube chats a little bit in the independent comic space. And I had an avatar. It wasn't my name. It was like, a totally different thing. I was just kind of hiding behind it. And he kept pushing me. He was like, you need to be out like as Rocky Ballesteros, like get out there. And, lovingly as your brothers do, he just kind of kept slapping me in the back of the head to do it. So I started the channel. I had no idea what I was doing, but I knew that I love comics and I just wanted to kind of what you were saying earlier about that whole experience of like meeting people at a comic book store, sharing your mutual love of what books you're picking up that week. That was kind of I was like, well, I can talk about that. Like, I don't have friends that I go to the comic book store anymore. They're all grown up and scattered all over the country. But I can do it on YouTube, I think. So I just tried it. He was like, just put something out there, just do it. And it was the most awkward. If you watch my very first live episode, it's like the most awkward thing ever. And I knew it would be, but it just had me starting to talk about comics that I loved. And then it's sort of grown from there. And then like you would ask, like, what do I hope for this channel? Well, as I've started talking about comics more and just what I love, I realized like, I'm an artist too. So I wanted to find a comfortable way or an easier way for me to transition to like actually drawing in front of people. Cause that's very nerve wracking to like draw live in front of people.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah. I'm the kind of artist that likes to just go away in the corner in my hole and then come out and go, ta-da, look at my masterpiece, as opposed to like, hey, come here, hundreds of strangers, and watch me make mistakes in front of you live. Like,
I think most artists are like that. They're not, they like to be, like in their cave, doing their thing, and then they'll put it out there when they're ready. Instead, you have taken it and you put it on Front Street, the entire process,
right,
which is not really what artists do. And it's so funny because you're so natural the way that you do it and you talk to your audience that you kind of forget like this is an unnatural thing for an artist to do. But the way that you speak to your artist, it doesn't feel, or to your fans or the people watching, it doesn't feel like that.
Thank you. Yeah, it's there's no way you can really trained for it, like my friend Shant, who does it and who I watch do it, like he was a teacher before, so he's used to like speaking in front of audiences and doing that. But I taught like just briefly, but I was never like a career teacher. So thank you for saying that. I think it was just like I just had to do it. And actually one of the streams that I do on my channel, I call it my Master Study series, and that's where I'm like trying to reproduce a comic book page by a legendary artist that I admire, and I'm trying to reproduce it from like blank to finish inks.
Wow.
And so that's been easier for me to latch onto because I know where the end goal is going to be, as opposed to like drawing something like clear blue sky. I'm just making it up as I go, and this is my own idea. Like eventually I want to get to that point, but right now I'm just kind of holding onto the rails of like, oh, okay, if I try and like do a master copy of like, Frank Miller or, Mike Zeck or something, then at least I know what the end result should look like, and I can get there and talk to people and like run the stream at the same time. It's as you know, running your own show, it's like you're the on-screen talent, you're the behind the camera talent, you're the coordinator, you're the graphic designer, you're the sketch. It's a lot. It's like a full-time thing, you know? So, yeah, but it's been really fun. It's been really fun to build the channel. And then like as these friends of mine here who are showing up in the chat, you know, these guys, Mark's
this is
Music
awesome.
Obsession, all these guys, Lindsay Rose, Cranberry Landers, you guys are amazing for coming in to say hello. They're a great group of bunch of people, and hopefully they come to your channel regularly because they're awesome support. They've really, I think that's the thing that's been amazing about this YouTube thing is the chat community component. Like you can't really explain to people how that works. It just happens and it builds on itself. And my channel is very much a part of who they are. They make a lot of what the life of my channel. So we were just joking before we went live, like that cooking thing I did, the like lime jello thing. I would not have done that. I would have not have come up with that idea on my own, but it happened to be an idea that came from the chat, and they were like pushing me to.
It looked good. The editing on it also. I was telling you, I'm like, I see another future for you here.
Maybe.
Like the editing of it was like chef's kiss, man.
Thank
you.
You.
It was really good. Yeah.
Thank you. And that's been a cool thing too with the YouTube thing, because like not only I'm an artist and you know like comics, but I also love film production, film editing, sound design, cinematography. So it kind of taps into it like tickles all those like creative sides to me, which has been really great.
That's awesome. No, I feel that way too. And I think I have a little bit about what you're saying of like, you know, I've been working with kids for the past couple years now. And, you know, I don't know, I've always been a speaker and a talker, or, you know, friends would be like, oh, like I'm on a 30-minute drive. Like, can you talk to me? I'm like, yeah, sure. Like, and just, you know, I'd be used to like entertain them while they're on their, you know, road journeys. And so I don't know, I've always loved it, but I love what you're saying about community, because, you know, for people that are new to this channel, you know, what I preach is that all these things that we love, it's all subjective and it all hits you differently. And that's the beautiful thing about this. And so really for like the community that I'm trying to build as well, I think like expressing how you feel about these things and having different opinions is so awesome, as long as you keep it respectful, because I've seen the internet go a different way, and that I'm not surprised, because it is the internet. But I think that is definitely the beautiful part about doing this, is the community that you start to build, and the familiar faces that you start to see like come to the channel, and they kind of been with you as you're building it out, as you're as Mark said, being the janitor and being the HR, you know, like, and doing all the things. They see it grow from like, you know, like having no backgrounds, like your name is from Chat GPT, you know, to like it's now hand drawn, and they've seen that growth of your channel, and to like have the OGs be there for you with the journey is awesome. And then having new people come along the way and feel like they're in a safe enough place to express how they feel, that is a really special thing. And so I love that you have brought that to your channel, and that's definitely what I'm trying to do too. And it's just such like a beautiful thing to be a part of.
I mean, I think that's the amazing thing about YouTube in particular, and the internet, of like, and this goes back to like, as a comic book nerd, before, when collecting comic books was not the cool thing, it was not the mainstream thing to do. It's like you kind of found your people. Like I found the people that were into comic books when I was younger, and we like huddled together and we would like geek out together, right? Like now YouTube, with this connectivity that we have, you find these people, but they're like all over the world. Definitely. and they're your people, and they can be really niche, you know, very, very niche audience that likes the same thing. And you're just amazed. Like, it's amazing, like the certain things like that people like the same that I do, you know, and that they're like all over the other side of the planet. So I think I think that's also that like comic book, again, the thing I love about not just comic books, but like a comic book store and visiting stores is that culture there.
Yeah.
Because you meet people who they might not like the same titles you do, but they love comics and you can talk about it and you can have healthy debate over stuff. Like I'm not into the like vitriol that can come with the internet and just the negativity and tearing people down. But
Yeah.
I do love healthy debate about like,
Same.
hey, can Superman beat up Wolverine? You know, like those kind of things. Like I love that. That's like
Yeah,
part of
yeah,
comic book
that's-
nerd culture.
That's a part of it. No, I mean,
Yeah.
and I do love too, like, I mean, I have spent hours and hours in comic book stores just talking to, you know, the person working there at the time or the people that are coming in and out and they join the conversation. Like that is definitely one of my favorite parts about being in that environment. But also like, I don't know. I mean, the past 15, 20 years, we've seen these comic books translated into movies and television and things like that. And so it's also really cool to get people's views of like how they think it translated or what they would have done differently or who they had in mind to cast. And now they're happily surprised that they chose Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange, you know? And so like, I think the conversation, it's so cool because it used to be very niche, you know, like being a comic book nerd was not a cool thing. Like,
No.
And I kind of tiptoed in both. Like I collected comic books and I played football. I did everything. But now it's like being a nerd is mainstream. And so it's kind of cool that like it's not, we're not gatekeeping. It's great that we have now opened up our community to more people that maybe don't have that collecting experience when they were a kid that we did when we grew up. And so like when you're telling them, they're like, oh really? Like that happened in the comics? Like I didn't even know that. You're like, yeah, 100%. Like there was, I mean, even this past for one of the teachers, his question of the day was like, I think like who's in the Avengers, or like he's young. And I'm like, dude, they were all in the Avengers. He's like, what? Wolverine? I'm like, yes, Wolverine's been on the Avengers multiple times. And
is it regular Avengers or West Coast Avengers?
Yeah, new Avengers, West Coast. So I just love that the community is getting bigger. In like, yes, it's mainstream, but like when you go into the comic book stores, those same conversations that we were having when we were like 11, 12, you know, in those are still happening. Yeah. And that's the beautiful part.
And there's different depths to that too. Like as much as I'd like to believe like I'm the biggest comic book nerd on the planet, I'm not. Like I went to a garage
I'm not
sale.
Either.
Yeah, I went to the garage sale a couple weekends ago, and you know, the guy had his like whole setup, and I was like flipping through his comic books, and the people that come in, he's like, oh, what are you looking for? And they're like, oh, Bronze Age, blah, blah, blah. Like I was like,
very specific.
This is way out of my league. I don't know. I'm just looking for cool stuff, guy. Like I felt really
I'm just
like,
looking for cool
like a
art.
noob.
I mean, when you're a kid, you know, before you really get into the storylines, you're looking at the covers.
Yes.
You know, like when I went through all my comic books at my parents' house, and it's like all the Secret Wars comics, just like these team ups and things that as you're a kid, you didn't realize were possible. You're like, oh my God, like he's in the comic with, you know, and it's like, so like it's the art is the first thing that speaks to you when you're a kid and when you're getting turned on to comics, which makes me want to ask you, what was like the first comic book that made you be like, I want to do that. I want to draw that. You know what I mean? I was wondering that.
Oh man, I talked about this on my stream.
In your mind.
Yes. I actually was introduced to comics by a child, like it was a family friend, and it was a girl. She was close to my age, and my parents were there, you know, hanging out with her parents, and they're like, oh yeah, you guys just play. And she was like, hey, you want to look at my brother's comic book collection? And her brothers happened to be like 10, 12 years older than her. And I think I was maybe like 7 at the time. And I was like, okay. And then she like showed me like these comics. And so I'd say like the first comics I was introduced to were probably like Fantastic Four, X-Men for sure were one of the first kind of characters I was introduced to. I was thrown into the Marvel route early on as a kid. Yeah, that's right. That's a classic X-Men.
I was like, when you were telling me, I'm like, I gotta get these ones just for
Trial
like,
of Magneto right there. Yeah, I think I still have my issue. If I'd known you'd pull that out, I would have pulled out my old one right here.
That's awesome that you have that issue. That's really cool.
But like, I think what drew me to Marvel, maybe it was just because I was introduced to Marvel early on, but what drew me to them was like the character stories were relatable. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's like classic McFarlane. Like blow my mind.
And they've done re-editions, like specials where it's all silver, you know, or something
I think
like
I had a platinum one or something.
Yeah,
like that
yeah, that's what I'm talking. Like
Yeah.
as a kid, I'm like, this is so cool. Like the texture of the comic, like redoing something so classic. It's so funny, like how excited you get from something you've seen a million times.
Yeah, yeah. And how many people have drawn that same pose, but like different characters. Even Todd McFarlane, like, homaged himself. He drew Spawn in that pose for one issue of Spawn. But yeah, I think like the Marvel characters really connected with me because they were relatable and there was very, very like human stories in that. Like at the time, most of the stories I got into was like about mutants and like how hard it was to be mutants in humankind, and they were like discriminated against, you know. It's like tapping into that social, like, I don't want to say social justice, but like it was just this like social component, like very relatable.
Civil rights era, you know, the Martin Luther King, you know, everyone talks about it, you know. Magneto is Malcolm X and Professor X is Martin Luther King Jr. And but it's funny how that hasn't changed. Like that still speaks to multiple times in our history.
It's a human story. Yeah.
Yes.
And for me, I guess looking at DC, the DC books, they were a little bit more removed, like a little bit more cartoony. And so I just gravitated to those like human, relatable, almost a little dark kind of edgy stories that like X-Men brought in. Especially X-Men was like my jam when I was younger.
Same, 100%. I mean, as you can see, these are my three favorite. Was X-Men, Batman. And Spider-Man. And this Batman in particular
89
was my first movie I saw in theaters I was like a baby. Yeah, I was
wow.
I think my dad took me. I was like, and I was a good baby, so I wasn't like, you know, making people pissed, but and then also it just, you know, if Superman said, you know, 78, right? 78, Superman 78. If Superman was like the thing that showed people, you know, that these things can work as a real movie for a general audience and make it fun and make it epic with Marlon Brando, then this one showed that this can be dark and brooding and badass. And so there's just been these movies. And then this one also with Spider-Man in 2002 and 2004 also. So it's like we've always had these ones that have like pushed what comic book nerds like us knew for the longest time into the mainstream to be like, see, this can work and it can be something that like, you know, should be nominated, but it doesn't always get nominated for Oscars or anything. But all these movies had their place to push forward what we've seen with comic book movies today. You know?
I think maybe like, and those are all those movies, like the Tim Burton Batman, that first one, and you know, the Sam Raimi Spider-Man, and then the first X-Men, the Bryan Singer, like those are burned in my brains as like, wow, they like nailed it. They were so successful. But we did also forget like the crappy B movies that were like made in between that nobody talks about.
Yeah,
like you know, like
Nick Fury with David Hasselhoff.
Right, or like the bootleg Fantastic Four movie that everybody talked about, like, or like Captain America, all those like bad ones. So
oh my god, that shield, the motorcycle, the helmet.
That's right, the motorcycle. I mean, they had their charm, but still, it was like, oh, this is never gonna work.
So my first live action representation of Spider-Man was on the VHS of a canceled X-Men pilot, animated pilot that didn't go to series called The Pride of X-Men.
That's one of the best X-Men animated ever.
That, as a kid, I would watch that on repeat.
Yes.
And before, there is a commercial for a credit card company, and they have a live action Spider-Man. I know there was I'm at the end of the 80s, being born. So like, I know there's, the 70s, and all this stuff.
Yeah.
But like, for me as a kid, I'm like, oh my God, I can finally see Spider-Man on like live action. Like, this is what he looks like. Right. And it's just a short, 30-second credit card commercial that played before the Pride of X-Men.
Yes.
And I loved that song, like X-Men.
Yeah,
X-Men,
that was great.
Leading the way.
It's still good. I mean, I know that like there's a lot of people that grew up with the X-Men animated series that end up happening.
Which I did. Like that was my X-Men, and it was very Claremonty,
Yeah, but I always loved the Pride of the X-Men. Like the animation level on that was so good. It was a Japanese studio that worked on that, and they just killed it. Like I thought all the casting was great on that. The storyline was awesome on that. Yeah, and I was like, why didn't this get made?
Yeah, like Wolverine had like an
Australian
accent, but like way before we knew Hugh was gonna play him. Like, were you guys predicting the future?
Yeah,
with this?
I think he even used the word dingo at one point.
I think he did
in the dialogue.
Yeah, and like that's how I learned the like Dazzler. Like where she can't, like, I had no idea about her till that. And so, it's great. Interesting how, because it took so long for like live action to break through comic book wise, that, Stan would use animation to push how good these stories are, or people should know about these stories. It was always animated. It was always animated shows, and even on Superman and his amazing and his friends, like all that stuff. Like it was always animation, but it's such a cool transition to slowly see it start happening with Donner Superman, and then Batman.
They had the Batman TV series, which I loved.
Adam West,
totally, which was amazing, and that was a great version of Batman. But like what Tim Burton did with the feature film was like, oh my gosh, that was tapping into Dark Knight, a little bit, and just the darker Gotham that is huge for what Batman is now. So I think that's when it like leveled up, because people would look at the TV show and they loved it. I loved it, and I still love it. But it was a little campy. It was a little cartoony.
A little?
Yeah.
Bro. Joker surfing with the sharks with the... Was it? Like, it was just wild. I saw a statue of it. I was like, my wife's already mad about this. I don't know. I can't get more. I didn't know how big this cow was going to be. I know it's a 1-to-1, but I'm like, oh dang, like that's how
is
big
it? What is it? Is it made out of, what's the material?
It's hard plastic. It's not like I can't.
You can't put it on. Oh.
I wish.
Then you would just do your whole stream with it on. That would
100%. And I don't even need to do the Christian Bale, because he would just be like, yeah, I'm Batman. Batman. He wouldn't change his voice that much.
Yes. Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I love your story. I love your channel, and I love the community that you're bringing with you.
Thanks.
Like the chat is going off, and like these are such beautiful things. Even Cranberry getting me with the Dazzler. I'm like, I just learned about her. I'm not saying like she's my goat or anything, but
don't get Cranberry started. That guy. So we talk about Pride of X-Men. Cranberry Langers has a huge thing against Kitty Pryde. So
really,
don't get him started on it. He'll start typing in all caps.
And what is it? Lockheed,
her dragon. Yeah. He hates
not a
Kitty
Lockheed
Pryde.
fan either.
I don't know. He hates her powers. He hates her attitude. I was like, I loved her. She was my entry point character. I was like, that's me. I mean, not that I'm a girl that can phase through walls, but like I related to her age and kind of her way of seeing
You're
the X-Men
giving
world.
feel to Cranberry right now. He's getting
Yep.
He's getting fingers ready to. No, I agree, and I'm so excited. So pretty much, we're gonna get into some stuff because, like, not only do I love Rocky's artwork and the way you talk to your audience and how easy going it feels like you're just hanging out. That's why I thought, like, okay, good. He is a Lockheed fan. That's why I'm like, but it lends so well to just talking about the current stuff that's coming out, like, which is more of what my show is like, talking about, who's going to be in Spider-Man and announcements and stuff like that. And so I was like, Rock could be so good at this. And like, I love his takes. I want his takes. So
we'll give it a shot.
Let's get into it. Let's give it a shot. So without further ado, as you guys may or may not know, it's been a while since Peacemaker season 1, and we've had James Gunn, given everything under the sun to his fans of all the information. And one thing that he told us from the very beginning was Peacemaker and the crew are coming back. Don't you worry. He said it's the best people I've ever worked with. Sorry, Guardians. And so it's been, 3 years since the first season.
Wow, has it been 3 years? Really?
Yeah, 2022. And so we were wondering, after Superman came out, what is this going to be and how is it going to work? And so they kept saying, this is going to be what the DCU is looking like moving forward. This is the representation. And so the episode dropped on Thursday. Don't worry, chat. If you haven't seen it, we are not going to go into spoiler details, but we're just going to talk a little bit about it. And I just want to say my initial thoughts first, and then I'm going to throw it to you. Okay, Rocky?
Okay. So
what I noticed right away, they changed the song in the dance. No, we'll get into that. We'll get into that. I just want to say, for me personally, I loved Peacemaker season 1. I watched it with my wife. Keep in mind, she's not a comic book nerd like us. During the pandemic, I did my work, and now she is a MCU fan. Heavy.
Nice.
Like, when I get home, she's working from home, has Endgame on in the background. I'm like, I did it. My work is...
That was the goal.
My work is done.
Can it be the background soundtrack to my wife's life?
Seriously. Dun, 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 dun. And so, but James Gunn, he's a little bit out there. It's harder, for her to Starro might have been too much for her. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can see that.
But she loved it. She loved season 1. She loved the absurdity mixed with the heart, what James Gunn does so well. And so right away with Peacemaker, the absurdity and the heart, the way that he combines that, the balance of it, I think it's so good. On top of that, I need to give a shout out to John Cena because for the longest time, the dude could not act. Like, let's be real. You know what I mean? Like, what is he, like Trainwreck and Bad Sisters? I don't know. Random funny bits. And so the first season was extremely impressive. The second season, right away, you could see like he has taken another jump in his acting prowess, if you will. And it definitely shows. I'm not going to spoil anything, but there is a scene where he does break down crying. And I'm sure you know what I'm referring to.
Yeah. And
James Gunn talked about this scene actually in particular. And they did it one way. He gave him notes like, hey, I think during this, like, he would break down crying. The next take, did it on command, tears going down. And that's the take that they used.
Wow.
And so you can really see like he has really tried hard and honed in on his acting skills, and the way that James Gunn has written this character and kind of coached John Cena throughout the process, you can really see it paying off. And I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
On top of that, I think that's something, that we're starting to see that's really cool with the DCU is the different ratings in the different tones. If you go from Superman, which is very PG-13, straight to Peacemaker, which is very R, it could be a little bit jarring.
Yeah.
But the way that James Gunn went about it, it feels so seamless and so lived in still. It still's in that same universe, but it's way raunchier. It's way outlandish, but it doesn't take you out of like, this feels completely different than Superman. It still feels like of the same world within its own unique tone. And I think that is what he's trying to show us, is that Lanterns, Supergirl, Peacemaker, Creature Commandos, Clayface, these are all going to feel like they're in the same world, but they're all going to have their very specific tone for these properties, but it's not going to feel out of place. And I think this is the first test of that. And it's really shown that that can really work in this DCU world. So I really enjoyed that aspect of it. I feel like I've talked a lot, so I'm going to throw it to Rocky because this has like been fresh in your mind. Like you literally watched it up until we hit live.
I had literally watched it right before here.
What was let's go into your initial thoughts.
Sure.
And then we'll talk about the intro, the new intro.
Well, I think the first thing that struck me when I watched it was, where does James Gunn have the time to do all this? Because he wrote and directed this first episode, which I think goes to your point. Like, he's being very intentional about, call it control or just like creative control, like really holding on to the reins of where DC is going. It's like a tenuous situation, right? There's a lot riding on once he joined DC. Like, what is he going to do? Is he going to be able to right this ship? And after the huge launch of Superman and kind of that monster, like taking on that like massive effort,
huge,
for him to have the time to, whenever he had the time to like write and direct this first episode, was like, I was like, what he did? And I think that helps like bridge what you're talking about, the PG-13 with the hard R worlds of these two,
because it's his voice.
It's his voice over. You know, and he's showing, and I think everybody's known this based on his resume, is that he can do the like family friendly, you know, Guardians of the Galaxy, like haha funny, like edgy movie, and then he can also go pretty dark and kind of like independent and like, you know, like, I don't want to say B movie, but he came from that like trauma, you know, world. So
no, I mean, when you see in the first season of Peacemaker, you know, what happened between Chris, you know, John Cena, and his brother, and, you know, being forced to fight him and, you know, accidentally killing him. And we're seeing the flashbacks as Peacemaker is playing the piano, and we're seeing it like cut back to him and how depressed and how it's still ingrained in his memory that happened.
Yeah.
That is not light work. Like that is very heavy. And with that heart, with the absurdity. And it's just like, man, for people that pigeonhole Gunn into being like the goofy, you know, jokey guy, I'm like, watch all of his work, because like there are some moments that just hit really, really hard.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that, you know, I think how he's writing Peacemaker, and to be honest, like I didn't know that much about that character watching first season. Like I didn't read comics with Peacemaker in it.
No.
It wasn't something that like
such a James Gunn character to choose.
Right. Like taking like a very obscure character and like giving him a really interesting story. So I do feel like after watching the first episode, without any spoilers, that he's taking what we know that he's established in first season of John Cena's character of Peacemaker, and like really like expanding it, you know, and like going deep. And at the end of the first episode, they showed where they're going in this season. You're like, oh, okay, you guys are really, you're going there. Like you're going there with his character and what he's about to experience.
And they show it in the trailer. To be fair, you know, the what is it? The quantum folding chamber? Is that what they call it? Like
whatever. Yeah,
so
I get
like
those all keys.
There and we did hear like in the DCU there is 100 universes, right? And so this is a way through
They're
that.
like, Marvel, you want a multiverse? We can do it even more.
Yeah, and we're gonna do it right away.
Yes.
So I'm like, oh,
yeah.
wow,
I will say that's like, any kind of like multi-timeline thing. This might be jumping ahead in your conversation of like the state of comic book movies, right now. But okay. I think any kind of like multi-timeline things, it's a tricky thing. I feel like we're hitting that like saturation point.
You write yourself into a corner a lot.
Yes. And they're introducing that into Peacemaker, right? Like you just said. Yeah. And so it's like, okay, you guys got to play this really well, because if you don't, it's going to, part of the problem when you throw in multi-timelines is like, well, does it all matter? Does it matter anymore? Because if we can just do a different timeline, there's no stakes, and then you can just reset if you want. And that has been an inherent issue with comics and stories in comics. How many times have they reinvented multiversed? I mean, this is just kind of following. Yes.
Like there's everything like, let's just take it and put it back into one, and then we'll do it again. Like, but
that's okay.
That's okay.
Yeah. There's some great stories.
It's beautiful to see that, like, oh, okay, cool. Like it happened in the comics. Now we're seeing it get to a point where it needs to happen with the movies. Right. So it's like, it's very cyclical, and so it's like kind of like, oh, perfect. Like we've seen it in comics. Like we're ready. Like us comic book fans, like we're ready for it. We've been here before. Like New 52, it like let's go. So
I wonder if somebody's gonna write like a Joseph Campbell's like the hero's journey, but it's like for the modern day age, and they have to throw in like the multiverse moment.
Right.
That's going to be part of modern day stories. You got to have your multiverse.
Yeah, seriously. Okay, awesome. Before we move on, I just wanted to get your opinion real quick. What did you think about the new intro, dance and song?
I thought
Do you really want to taste it? No, it's not it anymore.
This is just me, but I think that James Gunn, that is like signature James Gunn, using like a song from the old days or whatever. Is that an original song, or is that
No, it's a band. Yeah, it's Foxy. I forgot the name of it. Foxy something. Foxy or something like that.
But like it has that vibe, of like all the music that James
Gunn.
It's
his. It's right up his alley. 100%.
And then the dancing, like the awkward dancing. Like I remember the very first clip I saw of Groot and James Gunn doing a reference video of himself dancing to show the animators like how to make Groot dance. And he's like this awkward kind of gangly guy.
Was it like for Guardians 3 when he did? Because he did the motion for Groot dancing at the end.
I think it was the second one, maybe.
Okay, the intro when Baby Groot's dancing.
Yes, with the huge creature.
Everything's happening in the background, and
I think I saw the reference video for that. And like basically, that's James Gunn. Like every awkward dance is like James Gunn. So I could totally see him choreographing this with a choreographer, but himself 100%. Like saying, we're gonna do this weird move, and like
and it has a meaning, because even back to Baby Groot dancing with all the thing out of focus in the background, all the action, he's literally telling you the big spectacle is not what this story is about. The story is about the smaller character, literally showing a small character at the forefront. And that is the relationships, like the big and so he's like, there's all this like symbolism and message. Linz, I miss Groot. And so it's great that he's able to use such like a simple like dance and song to really like symbolize like what this story is really about,
Yeah. So, and then they they introduced obviously characters that will be in season 2, right? That we haven't seen yet in this first episode. They're in that intro. So it's cool. I mean, I really enjoy the very first season of Peacemaker. I bust out laughing when I saw that intro. So this one was kind of more the same. It didn't give me like, oh my gosh, it's like taking it another level. It was just like, but it was kind of funny that they did a whole nother dance.
Definitely. It's like more intimate, like And yeah, you know, for me personally, like, Do You Want to Taste It is a lot catchier of a song. But at the same time, like, it's just funny seeing like all the cast members dance.
Yeah.
Some of them you can tell like
Don't
they
know
do
how
not
to.
want to be there. They do not have
Yes.
dancing
That's
in their
right.
on their resume whatsoever.
That's right.
Like Frank Grillo, you can see him when they're all like pile on top of each other at the end.
Yes.
He's laughing his ass off.
Oh, really? I missed that.
And they keep it in there. They didn't
Yeah.
cut it. So it's
That's
like,
great.
oh, this is really beautiful. Like the camaraderie of the cast itself makes for such a great intro. You know what I mean?
Totally. Yeah. And I think that's pretty signature of James Gunn. It seems like the environment that he creates on his film sets or the TV shoots or whatever, it's definitely like a family feeling. Guardians had that. Suicide Squad had that.
The family
Superman.
you make scenario, you know.
Yeah. And it's represented in the stories he writes, but also it looks like behind the scenes with the cast, like they're just having a good time.
Yeah.
They're not taking themselves too seriously.
No assholes on set kind of
Right.
thing.
Yeah. And then more likely than not, I mean, I don't think this is a spoiler, but there's like an alien creature dancing in that intro.
What
in
the
second
heck?
season.
No, I'm just kidding.
I'm guessing maybe it's his brother in the suit. Like his brother's always there, right?
That's
like,
true. I
maybe
mean,
he's in that suit, like dancing.
Yeah.
More than likely.
could be. I mean, he is Maxwell Lord is in it too.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's not a spoiler. That is in the trailer as well. And they've shown that scene.
Yeah.
That was actually the teaser they did before. Like, I can hear you guys.
Yeah.
So that was
That's
pretty
great.
funny.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Well, if you guys haven't seen it, definitely check out Peacemaker. If you have seen it, drop a comment below. Like, let us know what you think. Are you enjoying the first season? Did you like the new song and the new dance? Let us know your thoughts.
Timmy Mello says mature rating is an understatement. Yeah, there's a moment in there. It's actually when I was texting Evan, he was like, "Hey, you watching Peacemaker?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm right at this scene." And then all of a sudden I was like, "Whoa, okay."
I know. Yeah, that was wild.
They just went,
to say the
went
least.
for it. Yeah, they just went for it. That's what HBO can do.
You know, we have seen a lot of photos of Spider-Man recently on set in Glasgow, suit looking beautiful, Punisher looking awesome, tanks being driven by people that we can't really see. And so it's shaping up that Spider-Man Brand New Day is looking like it's going to be a really fun time. And now we are getting some news that Florence Pugh is joining Spider-Man and that we are getting Yelena from Avengers with a Z in Spider-Man Brand New Day. And this comes to us from comicbookmovie.com. They say earlier this week, it was reported that Black Widow and Thunderbolt star Florence Pugh is the latest addition to the cast of Spider-Man Brand New Day. The trades have yet to weigh in, but we've done some digging, and yes, it appears the actress will indeed appear in the movie. It's a smart move on Marvel Studios' part, as it gives Yelena Belova the chance to shine in a much bigger movie than Thunderbolts before she takes center stage in Avengers Doomsday. The writing may have been on the wall for Pugh's Spider-Man franchise debut for quite some time, as two resurfaced interviews are receiving a lot of attention on social media this afternoon. The first comes from way back in 2021 when Holland shared his interest in a Spider-Man Black Widow team-up, specifically with Pugh. 2 years later, Pugh revealed that she was eager for Yelena to meet Peter Parker, confirming that she was desperate to meet her fellow Brit. As previously reported, Spider-Man Brand New Day now features the Hulk, the Punisher, the Scorpion, among several other rumored villains. What brings Spidey into contact with one of the leaders of the new Avengers? We'll have to wait and see. So it seems like it's not official, but all signs are looking to, yes, Yelena will be in the fold. I want to ask you, now that we're seeing, the Punisher, Hulk, a lot of other characters that we've seen in previous films, and we heard this was going to be a grounded Spider-Man story. What does it mean to you that Yelena will be in some part of the story in some kind of capacity? And what do you think that capacity could look like?
That's a good question. I was just trying to think. Like, I don't know any storylines with her character that crossed over Spider-Man. And maybe I'm just not tracking like the current Spider-Man storylines with her in it. I know the original Black Widow has crossed over with Spider-Man before, but I will say that like she made that Thunderbolts movie for me, like it was a good movie, but it wasn't like a great Marvel movie, but she always shines when she's on screen. Like she's awesome. So I can see her adding like a cool, like they're like, okay, who do we got to like integrate into the new, like how can we raise the new Avengers? Well, like put her at the forefront of whatever they are doing, 100%. It's really a smart move for them to do that. So yeah, I don't know where that storyline could go, to be honest. Like I have no idea. There's been so many Spider-Verse, Venom, Symbiote, blah, 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 all these kind of,
and we're going to get into that too, because there's some other rumors we're going to talk about with the Symbiote.
Yeah. Like I haven't even caught up on all the like Venom movies. I think I haven't seen the last one yet, The Last Dance. I didn't see that one.
It's on Netflix. If you ever
Yeah. But I did see I rewatched twice that the last Spider-Man movie, the Tom Holland one, on the plane when I was on vacation.
Oh, fantastic.
It's
No Way
so
Home.
Good. That
it's
movie
really
is
good.
so good. It's so good. And they took such a complicated concept of like crossing timelines again.
That's how you do it.
Made it work amazingly. So I'd be curious. Like, I mean, it's kind of like a little bit of a restart, right? A restart
for him.
Still, yeah. But it's still Tom Holland and Zendaya and all the characters we love, but they're kind of restarting and going again. So yeah, I have no idea. I have no idea where they're going to go with adding her to the cast.
Well, I say that, adding talent is never a bad thing. Mm-hmm. And if anything, like you said, Florence Pugh is now, becoming one of the most talented actresses in the MCU. And so to add her into this, it only enriches what we could possibly get from this Spider-Man storyline. So that makes it really exciting. Something also that I was thinking about too is, we are not far from Doomsday, and the setup itself.
What year is Doomsday supposed to come out?
It's December 2026.
Really?
It was pushed. It was pushed from May 2026 to December. And
How do they even think they can make it by May?
I know.
Jeez.
I know. And so, I was wondering, because I feel like Captain America Civil War helped set up so much for Infinity War. And it was such a great movie to lead into the next big team up. Mm-hmm. And that movie had a lot of people from the Avengers, from other movies in that movie, and introduced Spider-Man, Black Panther. And so it was a great way to like have an Avengers 2.0 without being an Avengers movie.
Yeah.
I think having, Hulk in this, Punisher, now Yelena, I think it's a great way to introduce a type of Civil War experience that will help the audience lean more into what will come into Doomsday. So whether that's, Yelena trying to recruit Spider-Man for Avengers, or the Hulk trying to recruit Spider-Man for Avengers, I think that will be really cool to like continue that storyline that we've seen slowly start to build and start to set it up in a better way for what's going to come in Doomsday. Yeah. The only thing I am nervous about is that it doesn't take away from the grounded street level Spider-Man movie that it seems like we're getting. So I hope that it is in some kind of smaller capacity that still lends to the overall journey that Peter's going to go through in this specific movie. But I don't want it to take away from his storyline and where he needs to go in his journey personally. So that's what I think are the pros and cons of
it
getting
could be
more
like
people in there. Yeah.
It could be like a small, side conversation. Like, you remember how they added Daredevil in the last Spider-Man movie where he kind of came in and he had that one scene with him. Yeah. That was great. Like, for me, that was like, and it didn't take away from the movie, but it was like, oh my gosh, they're in the same universe. So
I loved that. That's a great way to do it. I think if you're having Yelena, who's been in more movies, and is a great actress, I think you should use her in a little bit more capacity. Yeah. But I think you're right. I think it needs to be seamless. It can't just be like, Yelena, what the heck? Yeah. And so I feel like they have a way in that's organic, or else they wouldn't bring her in at all. So yeah, I'm really excited about it.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, because Doomsday, I remember when I was seeing the like proposed cast list on that, or when they were announcing the cast, I'm like, this is going to be too many people on screen at the same time. Like, how are we going to like contain all of this awesomeness and like just comic lore on one screen? It's going to be crazy.
Well, speaking of having more people on screen and adding great talent is never a bad thing. It has now been reported recently that Spider-Man Brand New Day has another addition to the cast in Severance star Tremel Tillman. And this comes to us from IGN. They say Severance star Tremel Tillman will reportedly make his Marvel Cinematic Universe debut in Spider-Man Brand New Day in an unnamed role. Details on the latest casting news for the new Tom Holland Spider-Man movie come from Variety. They inform us that, audiences are most likely to recognize Tillman for his work on The Severed Floor in Apple TV Plus's series Severance, where he plays an unnervingly calm Mr. Milchick. It's a role that has earned the actor a spot in the minds of TV fans everywhere, and has also kind of put him on the map with a lot of certain projects in recent years, being on Marvel's animated Hulu show Hit Monkey, and May's recently Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning, among a lot of others. Whether he's set to appear in a minor cameo role or a major MCU role, Tillman is only one of many names that have started to be introduced in Spider-Man Brand New Day. Mm-hmm. So I want to pose this question to you, my friend. Who do you think Tillman could be playing, and who would you want him to play in the MCU?
I just got cheater notes because I was looking at the chat.
Cheater notes.
Yes.
Okay.
But some, like Timmy Mello, Cranberry Landers, they said they're talking about Kang, and I was like, oh,
in Spider-Man?
I mean, he was supposed to be one of the big connector, like big event villains, and it got sidetracked.
How much they have pushed into the side. It's true.
I don't know. I mean, if it's Kang, I think he would be. I don't know. He's such a. You can tell that guy is such a good actor from what at least from what I've seen him do in Severance, that I think he could almost seamlessly take over Kang.
100%. He has the chops.
Yeah.
And he just
the
can be
gravitas.
Scary.
Yeah, he can be scary. Yeah.
But I want to know, though, I'm not leading you to the water, making you drink from it. Who in Spider-Man lore could you see or want Tillman to play? And then I'll tell you mine.
Okay.
Let's go.
I don't know. I mean, I was just thinking as you were like bringing up it, I was like, maybe he'll just be like a side character.
Just a
like,
guy.
Is he gonna
just a Daily Bugle guy or something?
Yeah. Just like somebody's dad, somebody's
What's
uncle.
What's the dude in the Daily Bugle? he's played typically by a black character.
He was like
he always has
Jay
Spider-Man's
Jonah?
back.
Yeah.
When Jay Jonah's crapping on Spider-Man,
Yes.
he's like, Spider-Man would never do,
Yes,
and they kind of had him in the Raimi ones a little bit.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, you know what I mean? Like,
yes, I know. I forgot his name.
I could see that. All right, you want to know mine since you're being so coy about it, Rocky?
I'm not being coy. I just don't know.
I'm like, you have one up your sleeve. I think he would make a great Norman Osborn. Right now on Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, the animated series, which if you haven't seen is fantastic.
Really?
Coleman Domingo is voicing the character right now and is doing a fantastic job. If you guys in the chat, if you haven't seen that, it is a great, not kiddie storyline. It is chef's kiss, the animation, old school. It's beautiful. But I could see him finally being introduced as a Norman Osborn.
To kind of tie in that animated,
right? Because there are some in that animated show, there are a ton of parallels. It's not 616, but it's like right next to 616.
Right. But I mean, we just had Osborn in the last movie who Defoe, like, that guy killed it. Like, I can't see anybody else but him as Osborn. And
that's what Timmy is saying too. But dude, everyone has their due.
Yeah.
And these things change. And for Spider-Man lore, we need a Norman Osborn. It's too important of a character not to have in Tom Holland Spider-Man's at all. And so maybe if it's not even that big of a role, but we finally introduce him, or we introduce Oscorp, whatever it is, I think you're not telling me if he was Norman, you would be like, no,
No,
I feel like you'd be like,
yeah, he'd be amazing. Yeah,
right?
Yeah. He'd be amazing. Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see.
Put a pin in that.
Yeah, we'll see. Let us know. Kingpin, we got a Kingpin. Vincent D'Onofrio is a fantastic Kingpin.
Yeah,
that would be crazy though. That
great. Yeah.
Make it go back to the Michael Clark Duncan days. That'd be kind of cool. From Daredevil, the old movie.
Yeah. The what's her name? The Ben Affleck Daredevil.
Let us know what you guys think. Are you excited about adding Severin Star, Tremel Tillman into the MCU? And who do you think he could play? All right, guys. Spider-Man talk continues, my friends, because for the longest time, we have been wondering, who is Sadie Sink going to play? And we've heard Jean Grey, and we've heard Gwen Stacy, and we've heard Mayday, Tobey Maguire's Mayday from his universe, and so we've heard all these things. And then we've also now been getting some tidbits that the symbiote might be making its way. And so we are getting some rumors circulating back to the idea that Sadie Sink is indeed playing Jean Grey. Keep in mind, this is just the rumor mill, but it comes from My Time to Shine, who is pretty good about this stuff. My Time to Shine talks a little bit about the symbiote, and Josh Den of Nerds from the Den of Nerds is posting about Jean Grey. So first we'll talk about Jean Grey. Josh from Den of Nerds posited that. So he said, so she's Jean Grey, but it's complicated. Kang, who you guys are saying, maybe come back in the fold. Kang has made it so the 616 X-Men don't know they are the X-Men. Kind of hard to explain, but you'll see. So she is Jean Grey, but she doesn't know it. A little complicated, but not too dissimilar with something that we've seen from the comics. On top of that, My Time to Shine says that the alien costume will have some kind of role in the next Spider-Man movie. So I'm asking you, do you think, one, using the idea that, you know, the X-Men and mutants have existed, but Kang just made everyone forget that they were, and this is indeed Sadie Sink playing a Jean Grey in this movie? We'll start with that question first. What do you think of that rumor? Is that something that you could see working? Is that something you would want to see in a Spider-Man movie?
I mean, X-Men, that's a loaded question. X-Men on film is a loaded question. And I think it is for a lot of people, as far as I think after X-Men 2, for me, it was like, what happened to my X-Men? You know what I mean? Like, it was like nobody was doing it. It just went off the rails after X-Men 2 for me. And so for them to say like, no, it's happening. And there's always been rumors of like, we're bringing it back. Well, it's not coming back. We're bringing it back. I want to see it done right. And I want to see it done well. I don't know if the rumor mill, just because Sadie Sink has red hair and they're like Jean Grey, you know, maybe. But I think that could be cool. I would like, I don't mind that idea that they're kind of sprinkling in the mutant kind here and there in these movies. At first, just to kind of plant,
with
the seeds.
Miss Marvel. Do you remember that part? Where they're like, oh,
I didn't see Miss Marvel.
Okay. In the last, at the end of the last episode, he's like, there's something with your genes. They're mutated. And then in the background, it's like, da-na-na-na-na-na, and they actually play that.
Yeah.
And then they're saying that Namor is a mutant. So they're slowly trying to like say they've been there. And so that's why people are lending to this rumor that it could be true. And that's how you bring Kang back in the fold a little bit.
But I see her too, just as an actress, her age, her look.
Great
I can
actress.
see her. I mean, yeah, she is, but I can see her just being like a totally different role. It didn't have to be Jean Grey. She could be a different character in
100%.
In Spider-Man. Like, she fits with that cast, with like the Zendaya and Tom Holland. You know, like she kind of fits. Like, she could be in there as another character
or a love interest.
Like a counterpoint to Zendaya.
Now, I want to ask you, with the symbiote, you know, we saw a sign recently as they're filming. It said symbiosis. And we saw that, Matt Gargan, who was the third iteration of Venom in the comics, the actor posted a picture of Scorpion, famously for when the Venom symbiote is about to take over him. I'm wondering, would you want to see a Venom introduced in this movie? And do you think that it could work?
I think yes, I would like to see it because, well, first of all, like, my daughter actually asked me this the other day. She's like, out of all the different iterations of Spider-Mans, because we were talking about the No Way Home, which one is your favorite? And I had to think about it for a second, because I actually liked all three of them at the time they came out. But
Tobey Maguire Spider-Man?
Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, and and Tom
Which
Holland.
is your favorite Spider-Man? Okay.
So she asked me what it was, and if I had to pick one, I said I think Tom Holland is. And so I like, as much as I love the Tobey Maguire one, when it came out, I think Spider-Man 2 is almost a perfect comic book film for me.
Top 5, 100%.
And as kind of wonky as some of the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man storylines were, I thought him as Peter Parker / Spider-Man was really great. He's a great actor.
And him and Gwen.
Yes, like he kind of captured something that the other ones didn't. You know, it was a nice aspect of Peter Parker that I liked. So, but that being said, I think Tom Holland is my favorite iteration if I had to pick one. And so to see them do Venom in his world and under that direction, that vision, I'd be into it. My only worry is that we've had the Venom movies. We had the Venom in the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man 3.
Nobody remembers that.
They do and they don't. Like kind of the
I'm gonna put some dirt in your eye. Remember
the like bad hair, the bad Tobey Maguire hair, like the reversed
the emo?
comb.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like that's kind of forever now in like Marvel memes. So
yeah, it is.
So I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if the symbiote will. And the Venom movies, I think I first saw the first two. Like, I think Tom Hardy is a great actor. I'm not a big fan of the direction that they did Venom, or like what he did with Venom. I'm not really a huge fan of that.
No, I don't see how you can do Venom without Spider-Man at all.
Yeah,
there are ways, but to completely separate them, I think it does a disservice to such great Venom storylines that have not been adapted.
Yeah. So I would love to see if you had to erase all that other Venom stuff and just this is the first time we see Venom and this director with Tom Holland, approach it.
Yeah.
I'd love to see that. I just wonder if they're even going to go there with all the confusion it could cause with the previous movies, previous iterations.
Well, we do know that, at the end of No Way Home, Tom Hardy's symbiote, a little piece gets left behind.
That's right.
So they could definitely use it. And, as Timmy is saying in the chat, we haven't seen this Scorpion version as Venom in live action ever. And so it would be a fresh new take on doing a Venom type storyline. Someone who already hates Spider-Man. It's very Eddie Brock-esque.
Yeah.
And then it combines with him and, exacerbates that hate even further. And it kind of fits into the storyline that started with Homecoming where, Scorpion at the end was like, I'm going to find him and I'm going to kill him, and all that stuff. And so I could see it really, fitting in seamlessly with the story of Scorpion in Tom Holland's world and how that could kind of take place in this upcoming movie.
Yeah.
But regardless of, the Venom movies that have been out or the third Spider movie that came out in 2007, I think a more faithful adaptation of Venom is overdue.
Yeah.
And I think using Gargan as a way into Venom, pitting that Venom against Spider-Man, Tom Holland specifically, is a cool way to do it that still feels fresh and new, but still takes from what has already transpired in the comics.
Yeah.
So I could see them doing it, and I would love to see it, happen over time. Maybe, it's introduced and then we see it, in Secret Wars, he has the black suit, we want to see him with the black suit in Secret Wars. That has to happen or it doesn't feel like Secret Wars. So I feel
shooting webs out of here. Right.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. And so I feel like this is the way that they could do it. And it's leaning towards that. I don't know with, the Sony rights and what they're allowed to do, in that stuff. But I would think that is a cool way in. And I would love to see it play out.
And they haven't done a good Scorpion yet. And he's a classic, whatever version of Scorpion. They haven't done a Scorpion, like full on Scorpion as a comic villain yet. They've just hinted at it. So I think that leaves room to like, if you're going to do the Venom Scorpion, like you guys are talking about, that would be really cool. Yeah.
And Michael Mando, who plays Scorpion in the MCU, is a fantastic actor. If you haven't seen Better Call Saul, he is really good in that. He was also in Orphan Black a long time ago, but he is a fantastic actor. And I think his chops could definitely pull off a Scorpion, getting a bigger spotlight, maybe getting the symbiote. I think with him behind the wheel, we would be in for a really big treat when it comes to Scorpion as Venom. So I think that would be really cool. So we'll see what happens. Let us know what you guys think. Drop a comment below. Do you think that it's possible that Sadie Sink is Jean Grey and that Kang maybe forgot, made them forget that they are mutants? would you think, that storyline could work? Would you want to see that? And then also with the symbiote, would you want to see the symbiote this early on in this new trilogy for Tom Holland? And
is it a trilogy?
Yeah,
it's a new trilogy.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Till he's 90, is what Deadpool would say.
Right.
Bye, Cranberry. Thanks for joining.
I'll see you later. Mark too. Mark's Music Obsession's leaving.
Oh, okay. Bye, Mark. So let us know your thoughts. Drop a comment below. All right, guys. We're almost out of here. We are almost out of here. We got a few more things.
Flew by.
We actually don't have that many things, but we do have something that I really want to pick your brain on that we were touching on. As we have, come to know superhero movies in the past 15 years, especially since the MCU gave birth to the cinematic universe that has, fell in love with the world, and the world has fell in love with it. It has made a lot of money at the box office, and we have been accustomed to these things, making well over $700 million. Well, it is now being reported that this is the first time since 2011 that a comic book movie will not reach over $700 million globally. I thought this was so interesting because of, what you were saying with, where the storylines are going and superhero fatigue. But I wanted to pick your brain, with this being the first year since 2011, which clearly they're showing, Captain America, First Avenger, and, it was starting, this is the year right before Avengers, right before these things started getting huge and taking off. What do you think this means for the genre of comic book movies in general?
Do you know what Superman's box office?
Yeah, Superman was not close. It was at 600 million. Yeah.
I mean, that's still a lot.
Timmy, we're missing about 400 million there, buddy. Fantastic Four just reached 500 million.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It just was reported this weekend. It had a really good weekend because it was about to not even hit 500. So it just hit 500 this weekend, but it is clearly not going to reach 700 million. So what do you think this means?
I'm not surprised. And and the reason I say that is I think this is the case for not just superhero genres, but like movies in general. I think the bar just was like the expectations just kept getting higher and higher and higher, and Avatar is doing $1 bajillion, and the next MCU movie's doing $1 bajillion plus one. Like it just kept getting too high, and like there's no way you can hold that level of return, with everything that the world's gone through with COVID, with streaming, all that kind of stuff. There's no way that you could hold that.
Yeah, strikes, everything.
As good as stories are, even comics go through this like cyclical thing of like when like Image Comics at that time, that was kind of one of the big times of comics when I was growing up. They were making like millions of dollars on comic books. And they were like literal rock stars, these artists and creators. And people were like, it's just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And I was like, there is no way that they can maintain this superstardom.
The bubble's going to burst.
Yeah, it's going to burst. It happens. It's just humanity. This is just how the world works. So I'm not surprised. I think I would love more middle tier movies to do well in this genre. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
More experimental, not like weird, like don't make sense and like confuse you kind of experimental, but like just smaller budget movies in superhero genre. I think they could be successful if they're done well, done smart, and you put the right director and the right story, together. But I'm not surprised. And I think also everybody was so invested in the Avengers and that whatever tier that was. How they have like
phase 3,
whatever.
Yeah.
They were so invested in that that it took a huge drop when you like say, okay, bye-bye,
Yeah,
bye-bye to
like
Captain America, bye-bye to
Endgame ends it, and then
Iron
it's like,
Man is
now
dead.
what?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, let's
Yeah,
do
Cap
like
is old.
right. Do you remember like I think in Eternals they hinted like we're gonna do the Black Knight, and I'm like, what? I don't care about the Black Knight.
I know, like who cares about the Black Knight?
Yeah.
Like,
So for they had to like reshuffle a little bit, and I don't know if Kevin Feige, with MCU is navigating it so well right now, because a bunch of the movies that have come out recently from Marvel have been a little bit of a misfire, So
yeah.
so yeah, I don't know. Will DC ever swing as high as Marvel and kind of take that place, and then Marvel will have to reset?
They did it for the first time since 2008.
Yeah.
This is the first time a DC movie has made more money at the box office than a Marvel film. So we're starting to see shifting tides, you know?
Or will it be, other characters that are not in DC or Marvel? Can anybody rise up enough to gain the public's interest? I don't know. There's a bunch of I was talking to somebody recently, like The Shadow. Remember that movie with Alec Baldwin?
Of course.
Like The Shadow is such a great character.
Yeah, knows? The Shadow knows.
Yeah, and there's so many the pulp stories that were built off The Shadow, like how many radio shows and comics were done on The Shadow, and that's where Batman came from, like out of that. Nobody's redone The Shadow recently, and I'm like, that's kind of due for a redo, and that could be so cool.
Yeah.
I guess The Shadow's a really cool character. But that enough?
Does it go to your point though, like with Black Knight? You know what I mean? Like the general audience is going to be like, The Shadow, like what the heck? So, I think, first off, if you look at this, sans Captain America, these movies were very good.
Mm-hmm.
They got back to a point where everything was firing all cylinders, whether it's, the casting, the storyline, the visuals, the VFX. They got back to a point of what we, know and love from the comic book movies that we like.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's that part has gotten better. The dip in the quality, we've gotten this year at least back to some, regularity of like good storytelling, which had been missing in the past few years. Besides Captain America Brave New World, which was chopped up and reshot and just Frankenstein too much to be a coherent story. Good parts, maybe, but not a coherent good story.
Well, I was like, funny you should bring up that movie, because I was talking to Frank, who's a comic book store owner here, and I always have great conversations with him. But we were just saying, like, they took, I loved Falcon as a character in all those original movies, but the second they turned him into Captain America, it was like, why did you do that? Like, there's so many great Falcon stories. He was so good. The actor was so good already. Like, why shoehorn him into the Captain America role?
Well, it's in the comics. It's not like
it is, but
do a good movie and you'll win the audience over. Like, the way that they did it, you made a Hulk sequel and pigeonholed it Captain America Falcon as the main character, which didn't really make any sense. If you made an espionage, spy thriller in the vein of Winter Soldier and had, Anthony Mackie's character struggle with, should I take the serum or not? And, and you really dove into that. That would have led to a better storyline. But it goes back to, I feel like with Thunderbolts and Superman and Fantastic Four, we are getting back to a point of better storytelling, more in-depth characters that the story makes sense to the character's journey. But I really think, when it comes to what we're talking about these movies not reaching over 700 million globally since 2011, I think we need to get normalized with the situation that we're in. And that's movies are very expensive. way less people are going to the movie than ever before.
Yeah.
And that these movies' budgets are so
Crazy.
overblown
Yeah.
that you need to make over 700 million, sometimes not to break even, but to make some kind of profit. I think these are a lot of issues that are coming up that we're starting to see highlighted a lot more, because the heyday of this genre is not what we're in anymore.
Right.
And so I think that is what we're trying, for the studios at least, to understand. These things need to change in order for you not to be pressured to make these big blockbuster, huge action, huge set pieces, because you can now dial it back, focus on the story, focus on the depth of the characters, and not focus so much on just spending money to make the big spectacle. And so I think that is what this is hopefully a wake-up call for a lot of studios putting out these big blockbuster movies. And hopefully this is a sign that we can get back to some kind of good storytelling that we were more accustomed to, say, 6 to 10 years ago.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Like, you can do Endgame or like Secret Wars or whatever, like once every few years, right? But not every movie has got to be like 40,000 FX shots with like every character on the Marvel, MCU, like fighting on a battlefield against like a demon horde. Like, you don't have to do that every time. Yeah. I think the trick with that is communicating that to the audience too, because I think we've become so trained to expect it bigger, more, I want to see all the characters cross over with everybody on every scene. And you have to find the right, maybe this goes back to the James Gunn conversation, the right director to be able to show you that 100%. Range. Like, Peacemaker is successful in a sense because it's a TV series and it knows it's a TV series. So when you watch it, you're expecting it to be a TV series, a good one, and they have their effects moments, they have their casting things, but it's like, you're not expecting Superman, right? When you watch Peacemaker. So, and it's possible. He's showing that it's possible.
Definitely.
So I think the same thing with Marvel. I think Marvel just got caught in the success whirlwind of like, we got to go bigger, guys. More. So hopefully, I don't know, but Doomsday or the Doom, Doctor Doom, they're going big. So
they're going big again.
We'll see.
Go big to go smaller. That's the goal, like get back to some kind of normalcy after this big event, and you can kind of like go back to basics after this. I think we saw some back to basics with Fantastic Four, which you need to see.
I need to see.
And we've gone back to basics a little bit with, Superman and just jumping into the story instead of like spoon feeding it to the to the audience, or, Thunderbolts being smaller and more contained. So it looks like we can get a little bit back there, but it seems like the proof is in the pudding. You guys are still spending too much, and we need to get back to like focus on storytelling instead of spectacle. And so hopefully that's where it's going. Hopefully they're definitely learning from these numbers. You best believe it. But we'll see how fast we can see those lessons being put into play in the next couple of years after we get past Doomsday and Secret Wars. So let us know what you guys think. This is the first time since 2011 that a comic book movie has not passed 700 million globally. So what do you think about it? What does this mean for the genre? Drop your comment below. All right.
Nice.
Rocky, we did it. We got through an episode. You were fantastic. I really appreciate you coming on here and being part of the conversation. I hope we can, continue to do this in some kind of capacity, because
for sure.
You are a natural at this. I think you have great takes, and I really enjoy talking to you.
Thanks a lot for inviting me. It was fun. It was totally fun. As always, like, just talking geek stuff, nerd stuff. Well, we'll be a little bit more like cultured, pop culture stuff. It's not geeky nerdy.
No, not anymore. No,
not anymore.
It's worldwide. And, as more news comes out, we'll get into, some films that we love, as we get, the Odyssey trailer from Christopher Nolan. And, there's a lot more that we're going to talk about. So I'm really excited to get into it with you and get your takes on it.
Nice. Yeah. I was just watching Tenet again recently and I'm like, whoo, Christopher Nolan.
I know. I
love Christopher Nolan, but like, woo, you were really like,
yeah,
you just went for it, dude.
Heady, very heady.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Rocky, where can the good people find you, my friend?
Nice. Yeah, you can find me at Rocky, Roque is how you spell my name. INC, like incorporated, Rocky Inc. On YouTube, and also on X at Rocky Inc. Same handle on there. Those are my two most active kind of social media places. I'm also on Instagram. It's at Rocky.Inc. on that one because I couldn't get the Rocky Inc. one for some weird reason. But yeah, those are the places you can find me. And yeah, come join. I do a show every Wednesday. My Wednesday comics, or those are the comics that I pick up every week and go over. I kind of flip through them and discuss them, and then we're kind of building that out a little bit. I'm getting the chat to tell me which one is their favorite book of the week. And then I also do the master study streams. I try and do those weekly as well. Sometimes, depending on my schedule, it doesn't work out. But I'm in the middle of finishing up a page by John Byrne for a series he's doing. It's called Elsewhen. Yeah, so those are fun. That's where I'm live stream drawing. And yeah, I'm just continuing to build out the channel. We got monetized recently, so I can get memberships.
Nice.
Yeah, so we're gonna see what that looks at. That's probably gonna involve Discord somehow, somewhere. Okay. I don't know. I'm learning all this stuff.
Fantastic. Congrats.
Thank you.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And yeah, you guys can find me at the Evan Edition. I'm on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube,
TikTok,
all the fun stuff. Yeah.
Do you like TikTok?
I'm getting used to it more, and I like putting my takes on there. I got great videos, great, trailer watches or takes. So definitely check it out. Yeah. It's the conversations have been starting and getting really good. And so, yeah, thank you so much for the chat, for joining, like, subscribe, be a part of the conversation. Like I said, I love doing this because everyone has different takes. This hits everyone differently. And that is what's special about this, and having these conversations and having these talks and having these differing opinions, as long as it's respectful, is what we love to do. So thank you for joining us. Thank you for being here. And we will see you guys next time. Take care, my friends.
See you later.
Bye-bye.
It's the Evan Edition. The Evan Edition. The Evan Edition. The Evan Edition. It's the Evan Edition. The Evan Edition. The Evan Edition. The Evan Edition. It's the Evan Edition.